Part 38. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 371. He continued. It has only been half a month since the Dragon Kingdom appeared. Lu Feng has been the emperor for half a month. How can he be in a high position? For this martial arts, I can a Euro trademark T tell you how much effort you put into practicing martial arts before. Brother, you are born with supernatural power, how can he compare with you? Yuan Chengdu was naturally happy after hearing this, but then he said no matter what, at this time the Dragon Kingdom has become the great enemy of the Sui dynasty. Since I lost the last fight with that monster Li Yuanba, not only has my reputation of being invincible in the world disappeared, but even the emperor's attitude towards me is not as enthusiastic as before. Now the Dragon Kingdom appears, it's a good opportunity. I will go to the emperor tomorrow to ask for orders, lead troops to attack Yangzhou, kill the Dragon Emperor, and let the emperor see my value again. As soon as Yuan Chengdu finished speaking, his father Yuan Huaji recommended he walked in and said to him, what's the use of letting Yang Guang see your value? He will be lost in this world. The Emperor of the Dragon Kingdom is very skilled in martial arts. Although he may not be your opponent, according to the spy's report, he also had two generals under his command, one named Ma Chao and the other Zhao Yun. At the beginning, these two men fought against Wu Tiangzi and Wu Yunzhao. Not only did they not lose in the battle for more than 100 rounds, but as the battle continued, the Wu brothers were steadily defeated. Suppressed. If you go, Lu Feng can't beat you, these two people will definitely come out to help. When the three of them join forces, you may not be able to win alone. Yuan Chengdu was still waiting to refute, but saw his father's stern words. His eyes closed and his mouth immediately closed. As Li Zitong and other 150,000 troops besieged Yang and were defeated, all forces in the world realized that the Dragon Kingdom was powerful, so no one dared to attack Yang for more than 10 days in a row. 20 days later, Yuan Huaji said to Sui, Your Majesty, the Shenlong Empire defeated Li Zitong and other three coalition forces not long ago, and defeated the opponent's 150,000 army with 9,000 cavalry. This matter has been known to the whole world, and the power has been lost because of it. The courage to attack Yangzhou. The existence of this Shenlong Empire has seriously threatened the majesty of the Sui dynasty. As the saying goes, one mountain cannot tolerate two tigers. The territory of the Sui dynasty cannot tolerate another emperor. Your Majesty must eradicate him as soon as possible. Yang Guang has been in these days. I have been worried about the affairs of the Dragon Kingdom, so when I heard Yuan Huaji mention this matter, I hurriedly said what Ai Qing said is exactly what I am worried about. The Dragon Kingdom has now conquered the country by eliminating Li Zitong and other three parties. He surrendered 100,000 troops, and also captured Dongyang, Liang and other places. However, as Ai Qing said, all the forces in the world are already afraid of the military might of the Shenlong Empire, especially since it is rumored that the Dragon Emperor is very powerful in martial arts. Below Chengdu, no one dares to attack the Dragon Kingdom anymore. If they are allowed to take advantage of this period of time to recuperate, train the 100,000 surrendered troops, develop their own power, and gain a firm foothold in Jiangnan, I'm afraid it's even more difficult to deal with. I've been having a lot of headaches about this matter these past few days, and I don't know how to solve it. Just now Ai Qing mentioned this matter, I wonder if you have any clever ideas. Yuan Huaji saw that Emperor Sui Yang was so urgent. When he asked about his plan, he smiled and said, I already have a countermeasure for this matter. Upon hearing this, Yang Guang hurriedly asked, Ai Qing's plan, how will it be done? Yuan Huaji replied, I will conquer it myself. _ To read the ununderlined version of the novel, please download Fei Lu Xiao. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 372. After listening to Yuan Huaji's words, Emperor Sui Yang frowned, stroked his beard and said, "Is the emperor going to conquer it himself? Can this solve the powerful strength of the Shenlong Empire?" Yuan Huaji saw Sui Yang the emperor hesitated and then explained, "Your Majesty, please think about it, the Dragon Kingdom's own military strength is only more than 20,000 people, and now it controls so many territories, it is natural to divide the troops. And their remaining troops are all mine." Although the Sui surrender troops included Li Zitong, Du Fuwei, and Lu Shiqian, although they were rebels, they were definitely more hostile to the Sui dynasty than the Dragon Kingdom, who appeared out of nowhere. Kindness. What's more, after the previous battle, the soldiers of the Dragon Kingdom killed countless brothers and comrades. Even if they surrendered to the Dragon Kingdom, they must have been forced to do so, and they must have resentment against the Dragon Kingdom in their hearts. At this time, since His Majesty has already decided to send troops to attack the Dragon Kingdom, so if the Imperial Commander personally conquers it, it will definitely boost the morale of our Sui soldiers. In addition, even if the troops surrendered in Yangzhou, Wuxing, Liang and other places, they are from the Sui dynasty. Knowing that His Majesty is here in person, I will be inspired and will most likely turn against the enemy and throw myself into the arms of the Sui dynasty. He may even take up arms to fight with the soldiers of the Dragon Kingdom, or directly abandon the city and surrender to the Sui dynasty. Then the Dragon Kingdom will not have these things. With the help of the Sui generals, the remaining troops were only enough to retreat to Yangzhou city. At that time, His Majesty only needed to bring an army of 200,000 to surround Yangzhou city. Even if he did not attack, he would only be surrounded by a few by the end of the month. The food and grass in the city have been exhausted. No matter how strong the Dragon Kingdom's army is, they will naturally be defeated without a fight. Emperor Sui Yang listened to Yuan Huaji's analysis, and the more sense he heard, he said excitedly, "Ai Qinjian said it makes sense. After I capture the city of Yangzhou, I will be able to play more in Yangzhou, which is not killing two birds with one stone, ha ha ha." Yuan Hua and Jian Longguo have already established their political power. At this time, Yang Guang is still thinking about having fun. It's really stupid. However, he did not point it out, but admitted, "Your Majesty is wise and powerful, and you will lead the army to guide the Sui soldiers. To eradicate the Dragon Kingdom and eliminate Lu Feng will definitely be captured by hand. In addition, once Your Majesty leads the army to fight in person, after wiping out the Dragon Kingdom, those rebels from all over the world will immediately realize the strength of the Sui dynasty when they see that even such a powerful Dragon Kingdom was defeated by the Great Sui and Your Majesty. Then you will not need Your Majesty. If we send troops to destroy them again, they will be so frightened that they will petition to surrender, lest my Sui army descend on the territory they occupied and harvest their lives." Emperor Yang of the Sui dynasty was overjoyed when he heard what Yuan Huaji said. He said, "Iking is indeed very intelligent. He solved the problem that has been bothering me for many days as soon as he opened his mouth. Tell me, why didn't I ask you, Iking, earlier? If I had known about your plan earlier, maybe now Lu Feng, the false emperor of the Dragon Kingdom, has knelt at my feet and begged for mercy." After hearing Yang Guang's words, Yuan Huaji sneered in his heart, but immediately knelt down and said, "I deserve death for failing to think of this sooner. This plan has troubled His Majesty for many days." Yang Guang was in high spirits because of Yuan Huaji's plan at this time, so he couldn't blame him, so he smiled and said, "Ai Qing, please come up quickly, you have come up with such a clever plan. ETA Euro trademark S too late for me to reward you, what are you guilty of? Feilu reminds you, 3 things about reading, collection, recommendation. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 373. Well, I won a Euro trademark T. Tell you how to reward you. You will join me in the expedition. When the time comes, we will destroy the Dragon Kingdom and make you, King, majestic in front of the people of the world. In addition, if there are any problems on the way, I can ask you, my beloved, in time. Yu Wenhuaji was stunned after hearing Yang Guang's words. He was about to shirk when he heard Emperor Sui Yang continue. I heard that the Dragon Kingdom has 2 generals who are highly skilled in martial arts, and the Dragon Emperor himself is also a top master. Since I was conducting the expedition myself, I naturally could not lose my prestige, so I appointed General Tianbao as the marshal of the 3 armies to help me command this 200,000 strong army. As my most trusted minister, King naturally wants to go with me. Does King still want to shirk? Yu Wenhuaji knew that the Dragon Emperor had many talents, and he had never thought about going out with the army, but Emperor Sui Yang had already said this, so he naturally could not shirk it, so he had no choice but to accept the order. Emperor Sui Yang said this while preparing to go on a personal expedition. The decision was made after 20 days of thinking. During this period, all the rebels in the world were paying close attention to the reaction of the Sui court. After all, the Shenlong Empire had been repelled one after another. He launched 2 attacks, killed all 4 commanders who led the army on these 2 occasions, and absorbed most of the opponent's troops. This was undoubtedly a slap in the Sui's face. Therefore, how would the Sui court respond? It is directly related to the situation of the world, so the rebels from all walks of life are inevitably ready to move. At this time, many heroes from all over the world have gathered here in Weigong village to form the Weigong rebel army to oppose the Sui dynasty. But because everyone they came together for a common reason and even became brothers, so they never elected a leader. Although this situation is called democracy nowadays, in feudal society, it was completely scattered. Everyone was doing their own thing, and it was inevitable that orders could not be given. Unification. Now, Yangzhou suddenly rises and the empire has a dragon emperor, so the heroes of Weigong village are also discussing to elect a king. However, although the heroes of Weigong village gather together, they are not all in harmony. The heroes from all walks of life are basically divided into 2 groups who look down upon each other. One group is the Green Forest heroes headed by Shan Xiangxin. He has a high prestige among Weigong, and most people look up to him. But the other group, those who were former court officials, were forced to rebel, such as the cold-faced Han Qiang Chiao Luokang. He and Shan Xiangxin actually despised each other. It was precisely because of the conflict between the 2 factions that if the king was not chosen well, it is very likely that Weigong village will collapse. Therefore, under the planning of the resourceful Su Mogong and the tacit cooperation of everyone, Chen Yaojin will be able to. He became the king of Weigong Jai out of confusion, proclaimed himself the virtuous emperor, and was known as the Demon King. Chen Yaojin and Shan Xiangxin are not only sworn brothers, but also have a very good relationship. In addition, Chen Yaojin and Qin Kaiang grew up together, and Qin Kaiang and Luo Cheng are cousins. Therefore, it is okay to choose Chen Yaojin to be the king of Weigong. It's said to be just right to achieve balance. After Chen Yaojin became the virtuous emperor, he worshipped Wei Zheng as prime minister, Su Mogong as military advisor, Shan Xiangxin, Luo Cheng, Qin Kaiang, Wang Bodang, and Wang Xian as the Weigong 5 tiger generals. Yu Junda, Ho Junji and others were general aid Biao. At this point, the Weigong rebels began to take shape. To read the ununderlined version of the novel, please download Fei Luxiao. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 374. Chen Yaojin became the king of Weigong and enjoyed the emperor's addiction for a few days. However, he only became the king in a daze just for fun. After a long time, he felt that there were many rules. Boring and boring. Therefore, after being the virtuous emperor for 18 days, he could not bear the many rules of being an emperor and gave up the throne to Li Mi. After Li Mi came to power, he immediately changed his name to King Wei. On the second day after Li Mi ascended the throne, news came out in Luoyang that Emperor Sui Yang was preparing to take Tianbao General Yuan Chengdu Yojia on a personal expedition to destroy the Yangzhou Shenlong Empire. This is currently the top priority in the world, and the final result is related to the prestige of the Sui dynasty and the ultimate strength of the newly rising Dragon Kingdom. Therefore, all forces have set their sights on Yangzhou and Luoyang. Almost all the rebels sent a large number of scouts to Yangzhou to inquire about the battle between the Dragon Kingdom and the Sui dynasty, and focused on recording the military strength of the Dragon Emperor and his generals. Including Li Mi, the king of Wei in Weigong village, he also sent a large number of Weigong scouts to Yangzhou to find out the news. For a time, Yangzhou and Long Kingdom once again became the focus of the world. At this time, the news that the Weigong rebels had established their own political power reached the Sui dynasty. Emperor Yang of the Sui dynasty was very angry about this. The previous Dragon Kingdom had not yet been pacified. In just a few days, another Wei kingdom appeared. In desperation, Emperor Sui Yang immediately summoned Yuan Huaji and asked him to find a way to deal with the rebels in Weigong village. Yuan Huaji thought for a long time, and then said, "Your Majesty, the Weigong rebels have been gathering for a long time, but they have not proclaimed themselves emperor for such a long time, and now they suddenly established power, which is obviously influenced by the Dragon Kingdom. Therefore, the minister believes that the most urgent task at present is to eliminate the Dragon Kingdom. This Dragon Kingdom is the first regime that openly attacks the Sui dynasty, and it can start a precedent of becoming emperor and self-reliant, so your Majesty must kill it as soon as possible. As long as the Dragon Kingdom is eliminated, the elimination of this pseudo-imperialist regime that dares to take the lead shows your Majesty a Euro trademark's attitude. Naturally, the other rebels will not dare to act recklessly again." After hearing Yuan Huaji a Euro trademark's words, Emperor Sui Yang lowered his head and thought for a while, and then said, "What I King said makes sense, but I can't ignore the rebels like Weigong who have jumped out to rebel now. What suggestions does I King have for this?" Yuan Huaji's eyes rolled after hearing Emperor Sui Yang's question. He turned around and said immediately, "Your Majesty, although Weigong rebelled, they are just a group of green forest bandits. These bandits are good at robbing homes and roads, but when it comes to fighting in front of the battlefield, how can they do it? They are comparable to our celestial army, so there is nothing to worry about. If I follow my thinking, the top priority now is to eliminate the Dragon Kingdom regime in Yangzhou. As for these clowns in Weigong, your Majesty can send the patron King Yang Lin to lead the army to eliminate them." Although Li Mi ascended the throne and proclaimed himself emperor in Weigong and established the Wei Kingdom, Emperor Sui Yang was only very angry about this, but did not pay too much attention to the group of green forest heroes in Weigong. Therefore, after Yuan Huaji put forward his suggestion, Emperor Yang of the Sui dynasty did not think twice and directly dispatched the patron King Yang Lin to lead an army to Weigong to quell the rebellion, while he himself set off from Luoyang with an army of 200,000 people. Head to Yangzhou in a grand way. Emperor Yang of the Sui dynasty listened to Yuan Huaji's suggestion and decided to conquer it himself. Feeler reminds you, 3 things to do when reading, collect and recommend. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 375. Later, I only thought that as long as I went to war, I could boost morale, causing the Sui army in Wuxing, Dongyang and other places to surrender their troops and rise up against the Dragon Kingdom. Coupled with Yuan Chengdu's bravery, this expedition to Luoyang is a sure shot. It is not difficult to destroy the Dragon Kingdom and kill the Dragon Emperor Lu Feng. So he regarded this battle as a rare outing, and even prepared a huge dragon bed in the middle of the army, which was carried around by dozens of soldiers. And he himself and his 4 concubines were lying on the dragon bed, having fun. In order to prevent the sun, wind, and mosquito bites, there was a huge parasol on the dragon bed, and a mosquito net hung around the parasol. Emperor Yang of the Sui dynasty was enjoying himself on this dragon bed. In order to rest well and avoid bumps, Emperor Yang of the Sui dynasty also prohibited the soldiers carrying the dragon bed from walking too fast, so the army marched very slowly. Even so, Emperor Yang of Sui beheaded 4 soldiers within 3 days because he felt uneasy. One day, Emperor Yang of the Sui dynasty was taking a nap on the dragon bed. Suddenly he felt the soldiers carrying the dragon bed stop suddenly, and there was another noisy shout from the distance, waking him up from his sweet dream. Emperor Yang of the Sui dynasty was furious because of this. He hurriedly stuck his head out and asked angrily what happened in front. It was so noisy, and you people who were carrying the bed stopped so suddenly, which disturbed my sweet dream. If you can't tell me a reason today, I will drag you all down and kill you. After hearing this, the soldiers carrying the dragon bed were frightened and said quickly, Your Majesty, please calm down. It's because a troop of soldiers suddenly appeared in front of you. The enemy and we are unknown, and we were afraid of accidentally hurting Your Majesty, so we hurriedly listened. But we didn't want to disturb Your Majesty, and we deserve to die. Your Majesty, out of good intentions, spared my life. Sui Yang. After listening to the soldier's explanation, the emperor lost most of his energy, so he said to the guard next to him, Go and see what happened in front. The guard followed the order and left. Without Yu Wenji and Yuan Chengdu and his son, they came together and said, Emperor Yang of the Sui dynasty said, Your Majesty, in front of you is Fu Gonggayu with 20,000 Zhang. He wants to join our Sui army. When Emperor Sui Yang heard this, he frowned and asked, Fu Gonggayu is not Du Fu Wei's sworn brother. Is it? He and Du Fu Wei became bandits in Zhanghuai and formed a rebel army to resist our Sui dynasty. Now that Du Fu Wei is dead, why did he lead people to join our Sui dynasty army again? Yuan Huaji explained back, Your Majesty, the reason why Na Fu Gonggayu joined our army was to destroy the Dragon Kingdom and avenge Du Fu Wei. According to Fu Gonggayu, the enemy Lu Feng and his 2 generals Ma Chao and Zhao Yun pursued and killed him that day, and finally killed him. He killed the 3 leaders Du Fu Wei, Lu Shiqian, and Li Zitong, but missed him. At this time, he was trying to unite all forces to attack Yangzhou and avenge Du Fu Wei. However, the rebels were afraid of the Dragon Kingdom. He did not dare to take action because of his military might. At this time, he heard the news of His Majesty's personal expedition, so he led his people to join our army. After hearing this, Emperor Sui Yang thought for a while and said, to attack the Dragon Kingdom now, we need all kinds of people. With the help of soldiers and horses, the more troops the better. Since he is here, I don't Euro trademark care about his past affairs. I will just hand him and his soldiers and horses to Yuan, the commander of Chengdu. Yu Wenji heard this from Sui Yangdi's words, naturally followed his orders and left. At the same time, Lu Feng also received news of the personal expedition of Emperor Yang of the Sui dynasty, and rushed to the Zhanghuai border with his army and General Wolong to meet the enemy. To read the ununderlined version of the novel, please download Fei Lu Xiao. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 376. In fact, regarding the personal expedition of Emperor Yang Guang of Sui dynasty, Lu Feng knew that he did not have many strong generals under his command. The only one worth noting was Tianbao General Yuan Chengdu. Yuan Chengdu was the 2nd most powerful general in the world, but he was completely beaten by the number 1 Li Yuanba. Lu Feng knew that Li Yuanba, as a Wuji general, could easily defeat Yuan Chengdu within a few moves, which showed that Yuan Chengdu had not yet reached the level of Wuji war. The state of general. In other words, although Yuan Chengdu can easily kill ordinary peerless generals in an instant, he still has not transcended the peerless realm. Since Lu Feng opened the many-luck golden dragon in the Three Kingdoms world and integrated it into the national Jade Seal, all the military commanders in the Dragon Kingdom have made rapid progress in their martial arts. Especially Lu Buletin, who was originally the unparalleled flying general in the world of the Three Kingdoms, broke through to the pinnacle of the peerless generals in one fell swoop, and half of his feet had already entered the gate of the Wuji general. Therefore, Lu Buletin at this time can also be said to be invincible in the peerless realm. Even if Zhao Yun and Dian Wei, the top peerless generals, join forces, they still can't go 10 rounds in front of Lu Buletin. But after all, Lu Buletin is not the Wuji warrior. If he meets the real Wuji warrior, Lu Buletin will only be completely tortured. From this point of view, the realm of Yuan Chengdu should be similar to that of Lu Buletin at this time. They are both realms that can be called half-step to the limitless, only half a step away from the realm of the infinite. Therefore, Lu Buletin can completely resist Yuan Chengdu. As for the remaining generals of the Sui dynasty, the remaining 5 dragon generals Zhao Yun, Dian Wei, Ma Chao and Huang Zhong can easily handle them. As for the army of the Sui dynasty, it was nothing more than the Dragon Kingdom army composed of Bing Zhou Longqi, Beima Yikong, Longwu soldiers, Longbo soldiers and Longcheng cavalry. Even if a force of 200,000 is used against 5,000 people, there is absolutely no hope of winning. Therefore, Lu Feng could have rested peacefully in Yangzhou city without having to go to the front line to direct the battle in person. However, since he came to the world of Sui and Tang dynasty, Feng really wanted to see the 18 heroes in the world with his own eyes, so he appeared on the battlefield without hesitation. After arriving at the Zhonghui border, the Dragon Kingdom's army formed a formation to meet the enemy. General Lu Feng of the 5 dragons surrounded him like stars holding the moon. The red-blooded dragon cavalry and the white horse Yi Kong lined up behind Lu Feng and the 5 dragons generals. As for the remaining 4 legions, they were arranged in formations in the center, back, left, and right according to the titles of their commanders. The officers and soldiers of the Dragon Kingdom watched from a distance as the Sui dynasty's 200,000-strong army slowly approached from a short distance away. Due to the large number of people, they really could not see the end at a glance. Among the 200,000 troops of the Sui dynasty, the most conspicuous thing was undoubtedly the huge dragon bed carried by dozens of people. At this time, the 2 armies stood still, and Lu Feng and others could clearly see Sui Yang Emperor Yang Guang lying on the dragon bed with a beautiful woman in his arms, and his head was resting on another concubine. On his body, there was another person beating his legs, and another person feeding him ordinary food. Emperor Sui Yang's appearance surprised all the officers and soldiers of the Dragon Kingdom. Although they had already known from Lu Feng's introduction that Emperor Yang of Sui dynasty was debauched, cruel and unkind, and was a cowardly and unruly king comparable to King Zhou of Yin. But they really didn't expect that his so-called imperial conquest would actually look like this. Filu reminds you, 3 things about reading, collecting and recommending. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 377. If it weren't for the 200,000 troops arrayed neatly beside and behind him, everyone would have thought he was out for an outing. However, this is actually on the battlefield after all. An emperor regards the battlefield as a place for his own pleasure, and he still enjoys it so much without any awareness. How debauchery can this be? In fact, not only the officers and soldiers of the Dragon Kingdom felt that Emperor Sui Yang's move was quite miraculous, but even the officers and soldiers of the Great Sui dynasty were embarrassed by Emperor Sui Yang's move. Compared with the uniform Dragon Kingdom army on the opposite side and the majestic Dragon Kingdom generals on horseback, the morale of the Sui army was also declining bit by bit. However, except for Emperor Sui Yang, not everyone felt that this move was inappropriate. Some people even felt that Emperor Sui Yang's appearance was very grand. And this person was none other than Yuan Chenglong, the second son of the Yuan family who had a high status in the Sui army. After the armies of both sides stood still, before the leaders of both sides, Dragon Emperor Lu Feng and Sui Yang Emperor Yang Guang, could speak, Yuan Chenglong jumped out of the formation first and came to the field. He first held a long sword and played a sword trick that he thought was very domineering, and then said, "I am the younger brother of General Tianbao of the Sui dynasty, Yuan Chenglong. You rebels came out of nowhere and occupied a Yangzhou, dares to proclaim itself emperor, and talks about the Shenlong Empire without shame. Your emperor is dressed like a martial artist. How can you compare it with our emperor of the Sui dynasty? Now that I, the emperor of the Sui dynasty, have personally conquered the country, why don't a Euro trademark I dismount my horse and accept surrender? Our Majesty is in a good mood, and I might as well spare your lives. If you are stubborn and insist on resisting to the end, then come up and practice with me and see if I don't kill you all." What Yuan Chenglong said. After saying this, he felt relieved, which made Emperor Sui Yang very happy, but it shocked his father Yuan Huaji. Yuan Chenglong's own martial arts skills are extremely mediocre, but he himself has no self-awareness. He thinks that his brother Yuan Chengdu is invincible in the world. He is his younger brother. Since he grew up and practiced martial arts together since childhood, he will naturally not be too bad. Moreover, every time Yuan Chengdu practiced martial arts with him, he always led him and sparred with him for a long time before pretending to work very hard to defeat him. This also gave Yuan Chengdu great confidence. In fact, he had no idea that he was able to reach his current position only because of the power of his father and elder brother. However, Yuan Chenglong had no self-awareness. His father Yuan Huaji and his brother Yuan Chengdu knew his abilities very well. Unexpectedly, he jumped out before the two managers could speak. Yuan Huaji wanted to step forward and call him back, but before he could move, a veteran with white hair and beard rushed out from the opposite formation. Yuan Huaji thought that if he called Yuan Chenglong back at this time, the morale of the army would definitely be damaged, and Emperor Sui Yang would lose face. Moreover, the opponent who came up was neither the legendary Zhao Yun, Ma Chao, nor the Dragon Emperor, but a veteran who looked to be in his 50s or 60s. This gave him some expectations, thinking that maybe Yuan Chenglong could win. Yuan Chengdu also thought that the other party was just an old man, so he didn't take it seriously, and faced him with a knife. As soon as the two sides fought, Yuan Chenglong felt a huge force coming from him, and the long knife in his hand became uncontrollable. Fly out. To read the ununderlined version of the novel, please download Fei Lu Xiao. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 378. As soon as Yuan Chenglong and Huang Zhong fought, his weapon was knocked away by Huang Zhong. At this moment, he knew instantly that the old man in front of him was not as easy to bully as he seemed. When Yuan Huaji, who was watching from behind, saw this scene, he was frightened out of his wits. His beautiful idea just now was completely in vain, and he became worried about the fate of Yuan Chenglong. However, in reality, he did not worry for long, because after Huang Zhou knocked the long knife from Yuan Chenglong's hand away, he slashed it horizontally in the next second. Then, Yuan Chenglong felt that he was flying up and turning several times in the air, but his body was very light. Then he saw a person standing on his own horse, a person without a head. He was confused in his mind, constantly thinking about when he left his horse and why there was another person sitting on his horse. Suddenly, Yuan Chenglong discovered that the armor and clothes on this headless man were so familiar. When the scene turned, he felt his face fall to the ground, and he happened to see his father shouting something to him. Immediately afterwards, Yuan Chenglong felt that his thoughts were becoming more and more blurred, and his eyes were getting darker and darker, and then he didn't know anything anymore. At this time, Yuan Huaji saw with his own eyes that Yuan Chenglong was beheaded in front of him. He suddenly felt as if his whole body had been struck by lightning, and he screamed, "My poor son." And the person who beheaded Yuan Chenglong, Huang Zhong, said very calmly, "With this little ability, I dare to call myself a general. What a great Sui dynasty, nothing more." Huang Zhong also held back his emotions when he went into battle this time. Since he came to the Sui and Tang world, the first battle, Dian Wei then led the Longwu soldiers to capture Yangzhou city. Ma Chao then led the Dragon City cavalry to kill Shen Faxing and repel the army. At the same time, Zhao Yun captured Wuxing County city under Guojia's planning. Later, Lu Buletin led his army alone to defend Wuxing County with Sun Yu, while Zhao Yun and Ma Chao singled out Wu Yunzhao and Wu Tianzi, the world's top generals, and became famous. Immediately afterwards, Lu Feng personally took action and beheaded two generals, Wu Yunzhao and Wu Tianzi, from his horse. In the end, the three of them chased Li Zitong and others together and beheaded three enemies. In these battles, Dian Wei, Zhao Yun, and Ma Chao both stole the show, and Lu Buletin also guarded Wuxing County as the main general. Among the 5 dragon generals brought by Lu Feng, Huang Zhong was the only one who never participated in the battle. And his role is to lead the longbowmen to hold down the formation behind the army, and use the longbowmen's ultra-long range to provide cover and support for their own troops. Although Huang Zhong knew that Lu Feng's arrangement was not to exclude him, but based on tactical needs. The attributes of the longbowmen determined that they could only be in the rear, so Lu Feng had no choice but to do this. Moreover, the original commander of the longbowmen, Tai Shisai, was an old minister who had followed Lu Feng since he was the governor of Liaodong. As soon as he joined Lu Feng's command, Lu Feng handed over this king's army to him without hesitation. And from the perspective of seniority, although he was the oldest, he was the last to join Lu Feng's command. Even when he joined Lu Feng's command, Longguo had already agreed with the whole country. But Lu Feng did not hide himself because of this. Instead, he listed himself as one of the 5 dragon generals of the Dragon Kingdom, alongside Zhao Yun, Dian Wei, and Ma Chao, who were important ministers of the Dragon Kingdom. Filu reminds you, 3 things about reading, collecting and recommending. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 379. Even higher than the status of the 5 tigers such as Taishi Ci and Zhang He. All of this can show that Lu Feng values a euro himself, and it is precisely because of this that Huang Zhong felt the kindness of knowing Lu Feng, and he was loyal to Lu Feng. Even when he came to the world of Sui and Tang dynasties and never had the opportunity to fight alone, he had no complaints. However, when his colleagues all showed strong martial arts and became famous in this completely new and unfamiliar world, Huang Zhong couldn't help it. So when Yuan Chenglong jumped out to insult the Shenlong Empire and Dragon Emperor Lu Feng without saying hello, Huang Zhong also knew that vanguards like Ma Chao and Dian Wei would not be able to help asking Lu Feng to step forward and teach this boy a lesson. Therefore, Huang Zhong was afraid of being overtaken by others again, so he could only lead the army to hold down the formation at the rear, so he didn't say hello to anyone and rushed forward with the red blood knife. Huang Zhong had heard Lu Feng analyze the military strength of the major generals in the Sui and Tang dynasties before. He knew that Tianbao General Yuan Chengdu was extremely powerful and could be called a half-step Wuji general. No one below the Wuji realm could defeat him. And since this Yuan Chenglong is the younger brother of Yuan Chengdu, and now that the 2 armies are fighting, he dares to be the first to jump out and insult the Dragon Kingdom, and he speaks arrogantly and asks the Dragon Kingdom's generals to come out and die. Therefore, Huang Zhong thought that even if the opponent was not as good as Yuan Chengdu, he would not be too bad, so he used his full strength without reservation as soon as he made a move. But he didn't expect that Yuan Chenglong was just a good talker, but he didn't have any skills in his hands. Huang Zhong killed him in 2 moves, which was even beyond Huang Zhong's expectations. However, When Yuan Chengdu saw that his younger brother was beheaded by the enemy as soon as he arrived, he was furious and immediately rushed out on horseback to avenge Yuan Chenglong. As he rushed, he shouted, "That old thief dared to kill my brother in front of me. Is it because he thinks he has a long life? I hope I won't cut you into pieces today." Huang Zhong raised his head when he heard this, but saw a fierce general rushed out from the Sui formation, 1 foot long, with a waist 10 inches wide, a golden face, a long beard, tiger eyes, and thick eyebrows. This man wore a golden helmet with 2 phoenixes on his head, and a piece of golden armor with a chain, and sat down. A yellow-flowered horse, holding a phoenix-winged golden crab in its hand. With this outfit, and the fact that he just claimed to be Yuan Chenglong's brother, he must be the great Sui Tianbao general Yuan Chengdu mentioned by Lu Feng. Lu Feng. Huang Zhong remembered that Lu Feng had said that an ordinary peerless general would have no chance of defeating this man, and seeing his eyes spitting fire and filled with anger, he did not dare to be careless. Huang Zhong first used the shaft of his long sword to he picked up the body of Yuan Chenglong, who was still sitting on the horse, and threw it towards Yuan Chengdu. When Yuan Chengdu saw his brother's body flying towards him, he quickly took back the gold-plated iron and used his left hand to protect the body. As soon as he was delayed, Huang Zhong immediately patting the horse arrived. His war horse was called Liaowenhuo, and it was also a peerless war horse domesticated at the Goguryeo racecourse. It had been with Huang Zhong for a long time, and he knew Huang Zhong's thoughts well, so as soon as Huang Zhong patted it, it rushed to Yuan Chengdu at the fastest speed next to him. Immediately afterwards, Huang Zhong used a move to split Huashan, and the red blood knife struck Yuan Chengdu head-on. However, as the second most powerful general in the world, how could Yuan Chengdu be defeated so easily? He lifted it up and hit Huang Zhong's sword heavily. To read the underlined version of the novel, please download Fei Lu Xiao. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 380. Long before the battle between the two armies, Huang Zhong had heard Lu Feng introduce Yuan Chengdu. Not only did he explain that as the second most powerful general in the world, he had a force that no peerless general could defeat. The emphasis is on his 400 kilograms of gold-plated phoenix wings. Huang Zhong originally thought that there must be a lot of water in it. For example, his iron-tied bow was called the 10,000 stones bow. But everyone knew that this big bow could not have 10,000 stones, otherwise no one would even think about it. Pull it open. Therefore, Huang Zhong took it for granted that although Yuan Chengdu's phoenix-winged gold-plated incense was said to weigh 400 kilograms, it would still be within a tolerable range after removing some of the water, which was more than 200 kilograms. However, the two sides only fought once, and Huang Zhong felt the huge power coming from the opponent's gold-plated iron, which was far beyond the comparison of any opponent he had fought before. With this attack from the opponent, not only was Yuan Chengdu able to easily neutralize his own attack, but he also almost made the red blood knife fly out. Even though he managed to control the scarlet blood knife without letting him go with all his strength, the arm holding the knife felt numb. However, Huang Zhong knows that in a battle between masters, there is absolutely no room for distraction. Every second may change the situation, and even affect life and death. Especially when fighting against someone who is much stronger than himself, he must take the initiative, otherwise he will soon be defeated. So Huang Zhong resisted his numb right arm and slashed at Yuan Chengdu again with his sword. At this time, Yuan Chengdu had already placed Yuan Chenglong's body on his horse. With his hands free of scruples, he concentrated on dealing with Huang Zhong's attack. The two sides fought back and forth for 4 or 5 times. It was Huang Zhong who was known as the double master of swords and bows. His swordsmanship was fierce and ruthless, and he took the lead, but he was still at a disadvantage because of the huge gap in strength. The main reason is that Yuan Chengdu is not only very strong, but also reacts very quickly. The gold-plated iron weighing 400 kilograms made a sound in his hand. Coupled with his huge strength, Huang Zhong suffered tremendous pain every time he collided with his weapon. After 6 or 7 rounds, Huang Zhong was completely suppressed and his strength was exhausted. Seeing this, Ma Chao also shouted, "Uncle Han Sheng, hold on, I will help you right now." Then he rushed out on horseback brandishing the tiger-headed Zhan golden gun, and fought with Huang Zhong against Yuan Chengdu. Yuan Chengdu saw a 14-year-old or 15-year-old youngster rushing out of the opponent's formation and knew that he was Ma Chao, who had become famous before. However, for him, he was not afraid even if the two of them worked together. Ma Chao rushed up to see Yuan Chengdu used his old strength, and before his new strength was born, he stabbed him in the throat with a tiger-headed spear. Ma Chao originally thought that due to its suddenness and the speed of flying sand in his crotch, this blow would definitely seriously injure Yuan Chengdu even if it could not kill him. But I didn't expect that Yuan Chengdu didn't dodge, and he directly raised the gold-plated ingot without looking. He just pointed it with the tip of the ingot, and it hit the tip of Ma Chao's tiger-headed Zhan golden gun. There was only a crisp sound of click. Yuan Chengdu's gold-plated gun stood straight and motionless. He himself did not take a step back. Instead, Ma Chao, who was charging with the momentum of his horse, retreated several times after the tiger-headed golden gun bent. Step. This blow shocked Ma Chao, and before he had time to react, Yuan Chengdu's gold-plated ink came at him again. _Feeler reminds you, 3 things about reading, collecting and recommending.